Hey, folks, my guest today is Vyacheslav Juodev. He's a CTO and co-founder of SumSub. Has over 20 years of IT experience and a PhD in computer science. He's a product-oriented CTO and, again, the co-founder of SumSub, which is AML and KYC tool. Okay, Vyacheslav, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right, so for folks not familiar with banking and finance, what is AML and KYC?
Basically, you can say it, AML is anti-money laundering, right? And KYC stands for Know Your Customer. And basically, it's kind of identity verification. So you help companies to onboard honest users, as many as possible, as quickly as possible, but at the same time, keeping fraudsters at bay, right? And of course, if company is regulated, then of course we help keeping this company staying compliant.
Mm-hmm. Now, are banks your main customer, or who's your main customer?
Main customers, yeah, we do have banks, fintech, actually crypto quite a bit, actually car sharings, marketplaces, shared economies, basically everywhere KYC is needed nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And so, what did some of these customers pay you per month to use the technology?
How much?
Yeah, how much do they pay you?
Yeah, we have about like 40 customers that we consider top tier one customers that paying more than 100,000 a year, right? But some of them paying over 1 million actually.
This is fascinating. Okay, so these are obviously huge. So just to be clear, your largest customer's ACV is high. They pay you how much? 2 million a year, a million a year?
Even more, maybe five, seven.
Okay, and so one of these customers paying you $5 to $7 million per year. How many? I imagine you bill based off number of verifications, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than that because we charge per sub-service, so to say, because some customers need one service, some customers like construct the flow from different parts. So we kind of have sub-services and we bill per sub-service. So how many customers you ask?
No. I mean, I guess the question. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. How many customers? That's a good thing.
Over 1,000 active customers, but 40 tier one customers paying more than 100,000 a year.
Okay. What is the? That's great to understand your tier one folks. But what does the average customer pay you per year? More like 10K or 5K a year?
Yeah, something like 10 to 20, I would say.
Okay, interesting. And so, I guess put this all on a timeline for me. When did you launch the business?
If you go to our website, it says 2015, but the story actually starts a little bit before then, in 2012, when I met co-founders, and we were doing actually anti-Photoshop software to detect the
anti-what
part Photoshop. So basically, you detect which parts of an image were edited, right? But then at some point,
you are Kim Kardashian's worst nightmare.
Yeah. So yeah, but at some point we realized that it's only part of a story because our customers, potential customers, they don't care about whether the image was modified or not. They care whether they can trust the end user. And then we pivoted in 2012, 15, and that's when things started to look good for us.
Okay, interesting. So I guess, did the business almost like die before you pivoted? What made you want to pivot?
Yeah, because there were hard times actually. We were working like let's say without salaries and like with our own savings.
You were working 3 years between 2012 and 2015 with no salary?
No. There were good times. So we also raised like some angel capital, like $500,000 or something. But then there were hard times when there was like 1 year of just working. But I was actually working part-time. Was my pet project back in the day. It was a little bit later when I kind of officially joined SumSub.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise. They sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here, and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. When did you join and quit your job and go all in on sub? What year?
2018.
Okay.
But before I was actually working at night. So, this entrepreneurial life. Before I was more like consultant and bringing my experience to the guys so that they can build substantial business. But actually, I can explain why we almost died, because I think it was about because of the expectation mismatch. Our customers actually, they wanted our product, but they expected magic, where you can detect every modification, even if the image was sent over WhatsApp, resaved multiple times, right? But the life is more complicated than that. So that's why we had to pivot, and we don't regret, because obviously It looks good so far.
So what is I guess you say guys, and we had to pivot all that. How many co-founders are there?
Overall 4. Actually, the other 3 are brothers, 2 of them twins, which makes a really fun case for our face matching algorithms.
That's funny. Okay, so there were 3 brothers. Would you say that they were struggling until you came in 2018? I mean, were you coming in to help save the business?
No, we were struggling before 2015 when we pivoted. Then we struggle because we're trying to find the right compromise between, because some customers also wanted magic, super complicated solution, but you cannot build complicated solution overnight. So it took us a while. But at the same time, I think it was a good thing that our first customers were from car sharing industry, and they were super picky about the rules and amount of documents. And that's why from the, let's say, day one, our KYC system was built to be extensible, very generic, so that we don't spend, let's say, developer resources, but rather offload it to technical support and things like that.
But Vyacheslav, when you joined full-time in 2018, I mean, having an equity conversation is tricky. It's 1 versus 3 because they're all brothers, right? Do you guys just split everything equally or no?
Initially, no, but then they probably saw my impact, and then somehow they offered me I didn't have to negotiate, so it was just split equally now.
Okay, so it's outside of other investors and all that and employee option pools, you each basically own 1/4 of the business, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, very cool. So so the pivot, so 2012 is launch date. It's a side project for you. You're helping the team through 2015. Photoshop software. They pivot in 2015 to more like AML KYC identity verification. You get excited, join full-time 2018, prove your worth, get more equity, and grow the business. Now, when did you start? Was 2018 the year where you start getting into AML and KYC?
No, even before that, because I was reading about that, and of course, I was still kind of consulting and helping guys. But yeah, I got probably most of my knowledge after 2017, I would say.
Okay. And did you guys, so you mentioned you raised $500,000. What year was that? 2012?
No, it was 2015 or 13. Yeah, but we raised since then, I think, only just a little of capital, 6 million in 2020, right? And half of it actually went to secondary. So actually, I'm very happy how we managed to build such a product without almost no external funding, right? And we're cash flow positive. And
that's incredible. So I guess you can't get a secondary done unless your economics are really strong. So you guys must have very strong economics. I mean, let's dive in there a little bit, right? So if you've got 1,000 customers paying on average $10,000 per year, that means you're doing more than 10 million run rate today, right?
No, it's more than that. Last year we made 25 USD, 25 million US dollars with 4.4 year-over-year growth, and now run rate I think 45 or 50 million.
Okay, got it. So your run rate, that's US dollars, 45 million?
Currently, yeah.
Okay, up from, sorry, you said 25 million last year?
Yeah, overall the revenue last year was 25 million.
That's incredible. So, and are these run rates? I mean, so have you basically doubled the business over the past 6 months? Is that what I'm understanding?
I mean, the end of our last year was really successful because we got some big customers onboarded, and then they also kind of trusted us more regions because we're dealing with international businesses, and very often big companies actually first start with, like, let's say Asian region, and then they expand if they're happy in what you're doing.
Yeah, this makes sense. But just to be clear, if you're doing a $45 million run rate right now, that means you're doing about 3.7 million a month in revenue, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then going back 1 year, you're saying you were doing about 2 million a month in revenue?
Probably the beginning of the year. I don't remember exactly, but maybe it was even like 700,000 in the beginning. I mean, the
beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So really, really good growth here. I guess and people are going to hear this and go, what do you mean they had troubles in 2018? They've got 50 million run rate almost. So I guess, do you remember what revenue was back in 2018?
I remember in 2019, it was about 1 million, but in 2018, I don't remember.
Okay, but it was less than a million, right?
Yeah.
So you've gone from $1 million run rate to $50 million run rate over the past 36 months.
Yeah, I guess that's correct.
I mean, Vyacheslav, look, we have a lot of data on SaaS companies. I mean, that you understand how impressive that is. I mean, that puts you in the top like 2% of fastest growing private SaaS companies in the world.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with what we're doing.
All right. So I guess you raised 6 million seed in 2020. Okay. What valuation was that at? Do you remember?
18 post money.
Okay. So it's 12 pre, 18 post, and all of the 6 million was secondary?
No, 3 million went to company and 3 million went to secondary.
Okay, so educate everyone on how secondaries work. I work with a lot of founders trying to do secondaries, but a lot of people don't understand what it means and how it works.
I mean, I'm a CTO, so probably do you think I'm the best person actually to explain?
Well, let me ask you: Did you sell some shares personally?
Yeah, no. So there were shares like belonging to one investor, and then another investor came on board and he bought those shares.
Okay, so employees and co-founders didn't sell any equity.
No.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the 50% secondary was to buy out the pre-seed guys that put in 500.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. So you're doing. I guess the last thing I'll ask is if you were doing, $700,000 in monthly recurring revenue back in when you did that seed round, right? That's effectively an 8.4 million run rate, right? Why do you think you only got a valuation of like 2x revenue?
I don't know, because we had, I think, lots of dependency on ICO back in the day, and it was kind of a little bit of unstable, I think. So we didn't get a very good multiplicator, to be honest.
Interesting. What do you mean by you're dependent on ICO? On like token offerings?
Yeah. So we were doing a little bit of KYC for some crypto projects, so to say. So that's.
I see.
Yeah, that's why, I guess.
I see. Okay, so I guess any plans to raise today, or going to keep bootstrapping?
Yeah, exactly. We want to actually raise Series B. And that's why also partially why we're talking, I guess. And we're also talking to a couple of funds at the moment. Yeah, so we have all the numbers ready, let's say, but we're, I would say, in a luxury position because we're not burning money, right? So we can really.
How much, Vyacheslav, do you profit per month? Do you know?
Bit is about 10 to 20%.
Okay, well, 10% of 3.7 million in MRR. I mean, that means you're taking about $400,000 in cash profit per month, right?
Yeah, around about that.
So you have a lot of leverage. So what kind of deal are you looking for? There's investors listening right now. What kind of deals will be the perfect deal?
I mean, initially, like we'll look at what like similar companies like we are raised. So we're thinking about 80 to 100 million. But at the same time, for us, right now is more important a strategic partnership because we want to expand to new market, to land new offices in different regions. We have some interesting M&A opportunities, and of course, we are product-oriented company, and actually, we were focusing on product too much. Like we were not focusing on sales and marketing. It was like more or less word of mouth, right? And now it's time actually to probably raise some money and invest into proper like sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm. I love this. Okay, so you're thinking about raising 80 to 100 million in your Series B.
Yeah.
Okay, and what valuation would make you guys really happy? Or like a range is fine. Obviously, you want to say something specific, but what's a range?
Actually, I don't know. Like before this podcast, like I was asking our financial guys or like guys that are responsible for, talking to the funds, like to give me an estimate. They say, no, we're not ready at this point yet. So probably I won't tell you. And I just am afraid to lie right now because if I calculate and multiply something, then probably won't be right number. But
I mean, so look, I'll do it for you, right? So that you don't have to have a history. I mean, if based off what I've seen, like recent deals in the marketplace, even with valuations coming down in the past sort of 6 months, so you see this in the public markets. I mean, if you take your run rate today of 45 million, you were seeing companies like with your growth, incredible growth, over 100% year over year, your scale is impressive. You were seeing these companies trade at like 45, 50x over the past 6 months. There's been a tight, like a little pullback. So like, I still think you could probably get a 30x multiple, which would mean you'd be raising 80 million or 100 million on a $1.3 billion valuation. You're talking in B's. That can maybe, does that make you feel like, whoa, we're worth 1.3 billion? I didn't expect that.
Yeah, sometimes like I have this crazy thoughts, but I prefer like to focus on product, and just go all in and not think about this because we have like specialists who are doing this part of the business. And I'm just trying as a founder also to understand the mathematics and mechanics of all of this fundraising and like revenue, whatever.
Yep. That's probably the smart way to do it. Let's go back to talking about products. Since you're CTO, how many verifications monthly are you processing right now?
It's from 500,000 to 1 million.
From how much? 500,000 to 1 million?
Yeah. I should have prepared much better actually to this question, but round about that, I would say.
Okay, 500,000 to 1 million. That's across all your customers.
Yeah. I mean, there are different kind of checks though, because I don't have a breakdown. Some of them are very easy to, like, let's say AML screening. Some of them are super complicated. Most of them are actually classical ID, identity verification. Is basically some sort of ID document plus a self.
And why would you say you've been able to grow so fast, 25 to 50 million in revenue without a sales team? I mean, would you say it's because you price against number of verifications so people upsell themselves?
There is, of course, a sales and marketing team. I mean, it's just, I would say, marketing, like sales, maybe 20, 30.
Okay.
20, 30. But I mean, honestly, probably it's not in the very good shape right now. That's again, like why we want to like hire like super senior people that can bring the order to this process. But most of the like revenue actually comes from the new clients, right? And those clients that actually coming from our competitors. And because one of the differentiators that we have, we work very well globally, like in emerging markets. And I know that many guys out there tell the same thing, but also the quality, that's what matters. And we know how to work with those complicated regions. And when such clients come to us, one particular region, complicated region, they A/B test us. They see that we perform and they say, okay, can you do Brazil right now? Yes, of course. They try Brazil and they see again that we perform. And that's how they really some of them put lots of traffic on us. Although in the beginning, it was a little bit, little, but then it grew really.
This
nice.
Makes sense. What's the total team size today? How many people?
About 300, a little bit more.
300 people. Wow. And how many engineers?
Engineers, I would say 50, 60 and plus, maybe 20, 30 like QA and like engineering managers.
60. Well, this is a heck of a story. I'm really excited to see what you guys do over the next quarter. In the meantime, though, let's wrap up here with the famous five. Vyacheslav, number one, favorite business book.
A business book. It's actually not a book, but a series of podcasts from Stanford University. I think How to Build a Startup. I think I listened to it exactly like in 2016, and it actually helped me a lot. I think to understand how you should approach the product, your customers. Like for example, build the product that 10 people love, and then scale it up, and things like that.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
CEO. Not really. I'm also not a CEO, although like sometimes like I'm doing things like also talking to the customers. But I guess it's a founder job, right? It's not CTO job, but also.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool, technical tool that you use to release code at some sub?
I mean, I admire like JetBrains product. They develop the IDEs, the development environments for the developers. So
what's their URL?
Jetbrains.com.
Jetbrains.com. Okay. Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Now I get much more than your guest. I would say like 7 to 8 hours. I used to be like a 6-hour sleep guy, especially when I was working in parallel. But then I listened to Joe Rogan podcast with Matt Walker, I think, the guy who wrote the book Why We Sleep, and then I kind of changed my habits a little bit.
That's amazing. You're a big podcast guy, huh? Have you heard? Did you listen to our show before you came on? Were you ready for it?
I listened to a couple of shows, yeah, but actually like 1 week ago and yesterday, of course, just to get a feeling. And of course, I needed to listen to it because I need to prepare to give all those numbers. To be honest, I didn't know all of them. Let's say 1 month ago, like half a month ago.
I know, guys. Before the show, Vyacheslav goes, Nathan, please don't kill me. I said, I'm not going to kill you. I think this is going to be a great story. And this has been a great episode. So last two questions here. Married, single, kids, what's your situation?
Married, one daughter, playing drums, going ice skating, enjoying life.
Amazing. How old are you?
36.
36. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Not new. I was thinking about this question, and probably I would question myself whether I should be doing PhD.
If it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
All right,
guys. It was fun, but nonetheless, who knows? Anyway.
Guys, SumSub.com launched in 2012. They raised a $500K seed back in 2015. They pivoted in 2018 to AML and KYC verification processes, now serving over 1,000 customers, paying on average $10,000 per year. They're doing $3.7 million in MRR, up from $2 million a year ago in 2021, and up from $700K in MRR in late 2020. So about a $45 million run rate today. Very capital efficient. Only $6.5 million raised. They're looking at doing their Series B this year. We'll see what happens. They're looking to raise 80 to 100 million. I think they can get over $1 billion valuation. I think it's going to be a very hot deal. I love the founders, the investors. Go get them. Go reach out. We'll see what happens. But Vyacheslav, thanks for taking us to the top.
Yeah, thank you.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com /Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.